this election was going to hold.
Today.
But the interesting thing is that businesses are going to be shut twice.
Yeah.
This month, in a month. And just last week we had the inflation the figure for January, which was put at something a little above 11%, which is still high up there. But you know, inflation rate has been coming down gradually, but with this effect, with the effect of what has gone on now today, where businesses have been shut down, and it's not going to be shut down just only today. A week to this time, that's next weekend, businesses are still going to be shut. So it's going to affect the inflation rates may go up slightly next month for this February. And like I said earlier, it's going to affect a lot of businesses. It's going to affect stock. It's going to affect the willingness of investors who are already reluctant about, you know, the security issues in the country, the economic issues in the country. And this one is like adding salt to injury, adding salt to an already open injury. And so it's going to really cost Nigeria quite something.
That's no doubt the truth. And except we want to tell ourselves lies, we would not want to look into our eyes and say that to ourselves. Now, what do you think will happen with the foreign investors who would want to think that our image is not very well placed? What do you think this postponement is putting out to foreigners, to the world, as it regards our image, Nigerian image, as it were? All right, Mr. Abiola.
Well, unfortunately, this postponement has not done any good to our image. Out there, Nigeria is seen as, you know, quote and unquote, an unserious nation. Because if you look at it, election cycle in Nigeria is pretty straightforward. Every 4 years, you know, we'll go to the polls, and INEC has no other business than to ensure that they conduct a credible, fair, and free election. And if you have 4 years to prepare for one singular job, and then just on the eve or some few hours to the main execution of the main work that you have to come up with excuses, I'll call them. It has not done any good to our image. In the Committee of Nations, Nigeria, even though we try to deceive ourselves that we are the giant of Africa, but a giant that cannot do things right. I wonder what kind of giant that is. So this postponement has not done us any good at all. Everybody that look at Nigeria will look at us as a unserious nation, and I think it's basically because the issue of cause and effect, the issue of repercussion of actions have not really come to play in Nigeria. If you take a walk down memory lane, you will discover that this postponement is not the first.
It's not a new thing.
It's not a new thing. It happened in 2011. In fact, 2011 we started the voting has started in some states, about 6 or so states, before the election was postponed from April 2nd to April 4th, a Monday. You know, last year it also happened. You know, but in all of this, you see that at the end of the day, nobody is called to question. You know, nobody faces the repercussion of botching a job that have been committed into our hands. And until if you don't put a stop to this and ensure that there is repercussion to every heart that is inimical to the development of this nation, you know, if you look at the political parties also, or the people in office, you know, they promise heaven and, you know, all kind of things, but they get there, they don't do what they have promised, and at the end of the day, there is no repercussion. Nobody is called to question. So it will continue to, that cycle of botching what is committed into people's hand will continue until our institutions, you know, are strengthened, and then people are called to questions. You know, they are made to face the repercussions of their actions and inaction, I think that is when we begin to have some respect in the international community.
All right, that is a very good contribution from Mr. Abiola this evening. I'd like us to be part of the conversation in the studio. You can put your calls through 0805-897-0897, 0805-897-0897, or 0805-897-1897, 0805-897-1897. You can also send your WhatsApp messages via the phone line 0805-897-5897, 0805-897-5897. Let's know how the postponement of these particular elections has affected you. Were you planning to vote? Has this particular incident, encouraged you to vote, or do you also think it has discouraged you from voting? Let's know what your thoughts are. What exactly has this postponement done to you? Are you at home? Did you travel out of Lagos to some other state where you don't reside so you could have the opportunity to vote? Are you somewhere else and you're not very happy about the situation? I have a call. Let me pick this. Hello, good evening. Yes, good evening. What's your name and where you're calling from? Okay, Mommy Vicky, go ahead. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much, Mommy Vicky. Thank you. All right. She has said quite a number of things that we thank God that it happened the way it happened. God is involved. But she quite mentioned that what about the materials that have been sent out? All right. Most importantly is that the election will affect some states who already have materials in their custody. We need to talk about that. Mr. Emmanuel, what do you think will happen as some states would have had, sensitive materials in their custody? How would this, play out?
Well, I think INEC is on the top of the job, and like Mr. Abiola said, this is the job that they are employed to do. This is what they have been planning in the last 2-3 years to ensure they deliver. And like we all know, election materials were already dispatched to most states in the country, and I'm also sure that by the feelers we are having, these materials are safe because they are going to be returned to the central bank, and there's all the security arrangements. Everything is okay.
You think the materials are truly safe?
The
with
materials
the
are safe.
News that some persons were arrested today, in Abia State, and of course we heard quite a lot of news that some materials were in some wrong hands, and of course this was planned to be used against us.
Those materials we are most likely sure that these materials in wrong hands they are not the original material. They are not the original material, like the result sheets that somebody was alleged to be arrested with. He already filled the result sheet and all that, according to what you have been reading on social media. And that cannot be from INEC. because the INEC materials were still intact. Nobody has dispatched any election material, and all these materials are safe, and they are going to be returned to where they are going to be safe, because the election is still going to happen. The election is not postponing definitely,
Definitely.
The election is still holding in a week's time. By this time next Saturday, the election would have been concluded before the presidential and the national election.
By the grace
of God will have been because we have nothing to gain if the election will not hold. We have nothing to gain, because a lot of insecurity, a lot of rumor, a lot of fake news out there, and I like to tell our listeners to beware of fake news, because at this period we should preempt a lot of these fake news, fake pictures, especially because in journalism we say that a picture tells the story of what a thousand words will say, or something like that. And Nigeria should be careful, and Nigeria should be aware that fake news are out there, and this perpetrator of fake news, they are always around to do their evil work. So election is going to hold by the grace of God, and we all have a lot to gain when the election is held.
We pray so that as the election holds next week, that all of this will become past tense. But you can still be part of our conversation in the studio. Put your calls through 08058970897, 08058970897, or 08058971897, 08058971897. We are discussing the economic implication of the postponement of these particular elections, and I still have with me in the studio Dayo Emmanuel. He's a journalist, and of course I have also Abiola Dauda, an engineer by profession and a political analyst. We are still talking economic implication of the postponement of the election. I'll go on a quick break. When we return, the show still continues. Stick around, I'll be right back.